Hello everyone, I thought I'd start this week's video update with a look at some of the daylilies that are in bloom in the garden. I won't be able to bore you with the names because I have no idea anymore. I've had these for so many years, and some of them weren't even named varieties when I bought them. But I have early season, mid-season, and late season. The early season ones are already finished, but I'll just walk around and take a shot of a few of the different ones that are out right now. The only thing that I don't like about daylilies is the fact that they are daylilies. Each blossom only lasts for one day. If any hybridizer ever successfully breeds that out of the plant so that the blossoms last several days each, I think he'll be a millionaire overnight. Well, I guess that's enough daylilies now to get on with the update of the square foot gardening greenhouse. My first harvest of peas, the green peas, tall telephone. I haven't tasted them cooked yet, but I've been munching on them for quite some time in the garden. They've been very good. Some of my winter squash have started to develop small squash. You might remember that from a package of heirloom seeds, it was just called Fun with Winter Squash, so I have no idea what the varieties actually are. This yellow one, at first I thought it was just a squash that was going to die, probably didn't get pollinated, but it's growing more every day now, so evidently whatever it is, it's supposed to be yellow. If anybody has any idea what that variety might be, please leave a comment. This one is shaped like a Hubbard, so I'm guessing it's either a green or a blue Hubbard. Right now it's green, but I think they all start out that color. It may turn blue later on, but I'm quite sure that looks to me like a Hubbard. Again, this one is Hubbard shaped, but it's a much lighter green. I don't have any idea again what the variety might be. I'm guessing this is a buttercup. It sort of has that buttercup look to it and has the end like the buttercup has, although it's quite yellow right now. But it is on a vine that has escaped the garden and is heading into the bushes here, so it's in quite a shady location. Maybe it'll get greener later on. And last but not least, there's this one, which is almost white. Sort of a bit of a Hubbard shape, maybe, I don't know, sort of football shaped, I guess, but again, I have no idea. Could be anything. If anybody's got any suggestion as to what any of these squash might be, please leave a comment. The Royal Burgundy bush beans, the heirloom variety, are starting to produce beans. The lovely purple jewel-colored blossoms have been replaced by burgundy-colored bean pods, so I guess that's where they get their name. I only had a few seeds. They came from the Yahoo heirloom seed group on the net. If they taste as good as they look, I'll have to see if I can search up some more seed for next year. This tomato is growing on one of the 3 plants that I bought at a garden center. I didn't start these ones from seed myself. And it was just simply marked an heirloom tomato. Well, that could be anything. But as you can see, it's a very different shape. If anybody has seen that particular shape and knows what the variety might be, please leave a comment. I'd appreciate that. Well, the tall telephone and the blue-podded peas have made it to the top of the first trellis and gone over the top. I think I said the top of the trellis is 7 foot 2 inches, so with what's over the top standing up there, I guess it would be safe to say that they're over 8 feet high now. And the trellis next to it are getting up there as well. They're mostly the tall telephone peas, planted 2 to 3 weeks after the other ones, just so I'd have a succession planting. Once again, I haven't really had to do any watering this week. We've had 1 3/4 inches of rain. The rutabagas that I've planted in the squares that I've emptied out of other produce are all coming up, and as you can see, need to be thinned. The French Courgettes have been in bloom for a couple of weeks now, and as you can see, they're starting to produce some very slender beans. Quite excited about these. I love them in France and hope they continue to produce here. Might even get enough to freeze a few. Now, as you know from previous videos, I was complaining about my carrots, how slow they were. Well, finally they've started to pick up and are growing a bit. It looks like I will get a few carrots. I've got 4 squares. This is, of course, I'm showing you the best square. Some of them are a little patchier than this, but at least the tops are getting to a fair size, so I guess I have hopes of carrots underground. Beets are starting to grow. I pulled one out of this particular block of the ones called Guards Mark. They're the ones that have that sort of bullseye red and white design when you cut them. It was one of the bigger ones in the patch here, very tasty. So I'm hopeful that they'll continue to grow. Maybe in September or so I'll be able to harvest some and do pickled beets. Down there in the leaf axil, where the leaf of the broccoli plant joins the main stem, you can see small side shoots of broccoli starting to come now that I've harvested the main shoot on top, the main head of broccoli. So eventually I'll have a little more broccoli. I've probably got the only chestnut tree with purple blossoms. I planted one of my clematis vines, I guess a year ago, at the base of this chestnut tree. It's another Clematis jackmanii, and this year it has grown enough that it's blooming. And right next to it is one of the few chestnuts that the tree has produced this year, which it never seems to have very many on it. Hundreds of blossoms this spring, and there's probably about 10 chestnuts on it, but at least I'm getting some. I'm in the greenhouse now to brag about my cucumbers. Shouldn't brag, they'll all die tomorrow probably. But they are really, some of the lower ones, the earlier ones that formed about, I don't know, 10 days ago or so, are starting to get to a size where I can think about picking them. That's nowhere near the size the thing will grow to. As I've said before, they're the same ones that you find plastic wrapped in stores that we call an English cucumber, but I love them when they're this size. They're particularly crisp and crunchy. I've ordered myself a pickle crock from Medicine Hat, Alberta. I found a place in Canada with the help of a friend on Flickr that still makes pickle crocks. So I'm going to try to make a crock full of sour pickles. The K+ neem organic pesticide and fungicide that Gary's Gardens recommended arrived late last week, and I've started using it. One of the places that I'm using it is on these greenhouse eggplants. As you can see, lots of damage on the leaves, and I believe that's earwigs. And earwigs are one of the listed pests that K+ neem is hopefully going to get rid of. So they've had one application. I'm thinking about giving them a second application today. Lots of good-sized green tomatoes. This is the heirloom variety Buckbee's New. As you can see, I get my hand in there, and that's grown a fairly good size. No sign of anything threatening to ripen here yet, but I've got several good-sized clusters of green ones. I plan to make green tomato chow chow, so even if they don't all ripen, I'll have a use for them, I guess. And right next to it is one of the black cherry clusters. They're doing quite well too. I guess I said in one other posting somewhere that I was waiting for red tomatoes. Well, in this case, I guess I'm waiting for black tomatoes. You'll have to stay tuned for future videos on my solar oven. I just paid $22.98 for a Mylar solar oven. This is my first attempt at cooking anything. There's just some diced up potato and onion in there. Only been there for a few minutes. Already there's steam coming on building up on the bag. So if this thing works, stay tuned. There will be a feature video coming up.